Up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Happy Halloween to everybody. The scariest day of the year. So they would have us believe. It's the scariest day of the year until Jerome Powell comes on Wednesday. But until that point, we we did it. We are here. We have made it to Halloween. Keep in mind, this is also not just Halloween, but it is the last day of the month. So, a lot of trading. Obviously, there's a lot of patterns that we're looking for, volume we're looking for, candles we're looking for, sentiment we're looking for. But a lot of trading comes down to money management as well. So, if you're having a really good month, maybe go slower. Only if there's a trade you see, take it. If you still hanging in there for the month, if you need an R or two to go positive, use the last day of the month as some kind of shield. You do not have to try to get crazy because again, at the end of the year, you want to see that you are trading profitably every single month. So make sure you guys do that. Don't overtrade today if you don't have to. Don't leave your accounts in the graveyard starting in November tomorrow. So we got you guys piling in. We got Albert in the house. Good morning. Brian is here with us. We got Cedric, Chad, David, Doug is with us. We got Eric Fayaz. Good morning. We got Greg Hill, my boy Greg Gilbert, GW, Jake Phelps is in the house. We got Jay, Jennifer, Joe, Kevin, Kyle, Matt, Michael, Quantre, Rick, Sam, Tanya, Will. Yes, sir. What is happening? All my people on YouTube land, good morning. Raymond, good morning. Richard, good morning. Hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Before we even start with the SPY, just on a theory here, I'm going to go tinfoil hat out of the gate. From what I keep hearing from people is Apple saved the market. So if that's the case, we might as well look at Apple before we look at the SPY. If it's Apple that's moving the market, why don't we just start with Apple today? Out of the gate, we are below, and this is my hourly chart. So this dotted line on my screen is a little bit of a longer term VPOC. We are below that. We are below yesterday's VPOC, so we closed relatively high for the session on Friday. But we still have 151.82 as some kind of support. That would also be a decent 50% retrace, somewhere in that zone from the low of Friday, or pretty much the low of Thursday into Friday. So that move, I would think we could get some kind of that was a lot of buying. We've had multiple days now of just straight buying. We had one little sell off, and again, Apple saves the market. So we will see. But for right now, we are still below the VPOC yesterday. This VPOC did close into a little resistance. I would expect some kind of pullback. So again, is this the full pullback we get on Apple, or do we dive a little bit deeper, maybe do about a 50% retrace? Maybe we do get somewhere close to, I'll call it 152, but somewhere around 151, 70-ish, somewhere right around that zone. Could we possibly pull back to there and then stay bullish? I don't have a reason to think that we go bearish yet. I think one of the biggest issues or when people are trying to look or read the market, they're kind of predicting and then almost manifesting what they think their prediction should be. Trust me, I've learned the hard way. Just don't jump in front of the bus. So at this point, I still want to remain bullish. Could we see again? I think we see a little bit of a maybe sell off toward the open. And we'll check out the SPY next, see if it's cooperating with Apple or not. But at least on Apple, and again, if the entire market is kind of watching Apple because it got saved, then market will probably get destroyed by Apple too if Apple starts getting crushed too on the same note. But kind of no man's land at open. Again, I'd probably be leaning still a little bit more to the bullish side. However, maybe we could get a little pullback, some profit taking. And we do have Jerome Powell in 2 days coming out with some rate hikes. If anybody is profitable on this and you're also starting a new month, you might want to take some profits. I would assume This looks like some kind of head and shoulders. This could also be a 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be a wave 5 potentially on a SPY, at least on an hourly chart. So getting some kind of a pullback into, yeah, we're at support now. We ran it up on the SPY to an okay volume level, nothing too crazy. Could have definitely went a little bit higher, probably into that 390 zone. And I think a lot of people are eyeballing 390. So if we fall short of it and then we dip, the other big question is the bottom in? That's the $1 million question. Are we about to just do this? Or is this a pullback in this? Again, for today at least, until I see something different in the charts, I have to be leaning with the trend, which has been recently bullish. So I'm going to be looking to buy the dips today. Try to use this level as some kind of support. So let's see what number that gives us. That would be somewhere in the, I'd say maybe we get down to like 384.79, somewhere below 385 on some kind of pullback. On the same note, this could be some kind of support, and maybe we get saved. There's not a lot of volume if we do start pushing higher right at open on this, but we're going to be using Friday's VPOC as some kind of resistance for sure. That's going to take us to 389, probably 389.02, somewhere in that zone. But for right now, yeah, kind of no man's land. Let me just clear this thing off. Kind of no man's land as far as where we're at. If we do pull down to at least the previous VPOC, which we are under, again, Fridays, but we're also under that developing VPOC from Friday as well, which is kind of interesting. Interesting enough for a fade. We have Thursdays developing VPOC somewhere in this area. That's 389, 386.75. Could be a potential support. 50% retrace would probably take us to about 385.60. And a slightly bigger target would be at 383. But again, I don't know if we had there. That's a lot of buying. This is, again, hourly chart. We did nothing but buy on Friday. We had one indecision area at the top. So this could very easily be this. Some profit taking early, do this, either double top or we finally break and we do push out higher. But just try not to step in front of the trains. They will hurt. They come quick. They're fully loaded with cargo. We will see though. We will see. But nothing too crazy. Kind of just in no man's land, both SPY and on Apple out of the gate. We've got Tesla. Tesla is above a. Tesla looks a little bit better still. A little bit better. Still could get a pullback. We've been struggling. So this line, this blue line, diagonal line, let's go back to find out where that one's drawn from, but we've been using that as some kind of very strong resistance on Tesla. So here's our daily chart on Tesla. Again, we're pretty much at the high volume levels. There's some volume levels a little bit lower than us that could be some kind of support in this thing. Takes us down to the 222 zone, 222.50. Anytime we've reached that, we've been getting some kind of bounces. That's kind of where the bulls have to hold this thing. If they want any chance of a rebound, calling that the bottom is in, this is the zone that this thing is going to have to hang out in for sure. So we need that as some kind of support, but otherwise we're still in that high volume area. We've been using this uptrend line pretty decently as we've been just pretty much banging our heads into it and getting rejected. But on a daily chart, interesting looking hammer. Did freak out some bears for a little bit. We do have a double bottom. Question is, can we break out of Thursday's range? If we can get above Thursday's range, especially that 234.22, the next stop becomes 238. I think we were watching that spot for a while. But again, I don't know. That there's blatant double bottom, good wick at the bottom of where a lot of people would have went short. So you have a decent bear trap, 1, 2, 3 straight days of buying. Technically, even though this is a red candle, this would be still bullish. We still closed higher than the day before. We just had that gap up into resistance. And this wick is telling me there is still some buying interest on Tesla. So we'll have to see. But we're going to get to some key levels. Again, that 230 range has been a nightmare. Even as the entire market was ripping on Friday, Tesla was still moving, just not as well as the rest of the market. We also not out of earnings season yet, so AMD is going to be reporting. Obviously, anything in the chip field will be sympathy play. So I'm sure we will get some. Is Nvidia too? No, Nvidia is not for another 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. But we have some time on Nvidia. But AMD does report, so AMD is going to be the first to show us their hand this week. Otherwise, let's flip back to the hourly chart. So big monster green day, bullish engulfing candle. Again, sentiment. I don't want to say we're topping and we flip, and at least I don't want to use the logic of we've gone too far so we can't go further. Because that would have caused me to lose a lot of money in 2020. That would have been every day waking up. Yeah, we've gone too far, so we can't go further. New high. Yeah, Nvidia on the hourly looks decent. We're getting into a zone which might be a little struggle bus. Somewhere around that 138.42. If we can get above that, we should, again, probably not, I don't know, maybe on a day trade, but next target then would become 142.70, somewhere there. Sam says, if you got time, can check out Roku. It's an interesting retest. Yep. We'll put Roku on the list for this morning. By the way, also, if you guys have other tickers, symbols, or stocks that you want to check, I also want to check GameStop. I think we're getting some meme pushes today as well. So we'll definitely check that out. But again, nothing too crazy. It is above Friday's support, Friday's VPOC, so that should act as a little bit of support. In a worst case, I'd have to still remain bullish on Nvidia. In a worst case, at least just picking direction. That's the direction I'm gonna have to try. But we are inside day for so far everything we looked at, so nothing that we're gonna get immediate access as far as the 10 EMA, and I am perfectly okay just sitting on my hands waiting for that trade to come to us as opposed to forcing something today. We have Amazon inside day, still at the high end of the range. We have that 10 EMA approaching us on the hourly, so that again is going to act as some kind of resistance. Zero pullback on Amazon. Zero pullback, obviously after a ginormous gap, but that gap was so far being bought up. This one I would say still probably has a sentiment of weakness. So I think this 10 EMA should act as a good, because they're everything on the on the Amazon earnings call was just disastrous. Like they missed on every front. Probably a little bit of an overextended gap that we had, and we're just kind of buying that gap. I still don't think this one is strong, but I think this is a retest to some extent, some kind of profit taking. I could see something like this happening. Or at least worst case, I think this VPOC gets retested. So I think that 10 EMA is going to be a decent hold spot for at this point. I'd be a little surprised if we start breaking that. Hector's in the house. Hector says, I guess people went back to Sears after the pandemic. Yeah, because they got to buy their toolkit and a t-shirt at the same time, and also get family portraits. You can't get family portraits on Amazon, I don't think. Not sure. But yeah, I think this one probably comes back. I would say if I have to go short on something, again, inside day, but we should have some room down. Which that VPOC is sitting somewhere right around $100 level. So we'll see on that one. But right now inside Delta, below Friday's VPOC, support on this one, if we do get a little bit of pullback, would probably be closer to about 34.42. So take it for what it's worth, but you can get maybe to a short side if this one does come down again. It's going to be, I think, still at this point a little tougher to short because we're not seeing any like real shifts in momentum at all. This could be potentially double top. So if you wanted to short this one, I would go stop would be somewhere around this. I'd probably take it up to like 34.79 zone, 34.80. Really hoping that it doesn't get past that VPOC, and then you're just kind of playing it for probably about a 1.2, 1.4 R on Delta if this one does fade down, just because maybe we get some kind of at least a 50% retest. But you really don't want to see it start breaking out of really this wick right here. That's where the bears first came. The only reason you would short is saying, okay, this is maybe double top. But again, you're still pretty much going counter trend. Let me see. Roku. And a fridge. You get everything from Sears except revenue. That's the only thing Sears can't get. They cannot keep a profit. Bed Bath Beyond is, I think, inspired by Sears, though. I think they're very close to getting a good carbon copy of what Sears has historically done, minus all the real estate. So Roku, let me flip this to a daily. That is an interesting gap. It is going to be a retest gap. The bears came in here. This is Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. This is the spot the bears started to break Roku back down, at least for a retest. Nothing too crazy. Sat within this one big larger candle. So nothing really has changed with Roku, but we're getting back into a little bit of resistance up here. And again, this is where the bears came in last time. So I would almost want to see some kind of a break. And even as we break Roku, you still now have one level, two levels, and then I think this spot right here, somewhere in this zone with these two VPOCs right above that $58 range, which again, if you are playing this one bullish, that's right above that 58. I'd pretty much want to be all out of this stock. And it is a retest gap. So I would not be playing this one bullish out of the open. If it opens and just runs without me, there'll be another spot where I could find to take a trade to get in. But this one I would expect to come back, retest at least a little bit. I'd still keep my I want to be all out by like 58.10. But maybe get a better setup than just grabbing it open. It does look interesting, but again, this is still technically all inside candles. A little bit of a flag pattern. We are breaking out of some kind of support. I think maybe we can get it closer to that $55 range would give us a better risk reward on that play. So watch for 55, set an alert, see if it comes into that price at all. And if it does, might be worth setting up. We are technically making higher lows on this one as well. So we'll have to see. Let's take a look at GameStop. So far out of the ones that we're watching, can't really do too much out of the open. We'll see if we can find a nice gap and go somewhere. And again, if there's any other tickers or anything else that you guys want to look at, by all means, we can do it. GameStop, the place where people go to buy games. This will probably be a fade. This will probably fade, is my guess. See how it reacts. 31.85. That would be a much longer term VPOC area. This is a retest gap. It is up about 10%. The gorillas are pushing this thing. Historically, since we had that big massive run, I think there's still a lot of people just holding a lot of bags on GameStop at this point. I think this is a very fadeable gap. So I'll probably be looking to fade that. Jose says, did you go over the SPY already? Entered a little bit late. I'm going to mail you out a new alarm clock, Jose. Yeah, we did go over the SPY, but we could do it again. So right now it's still just inside day. Nothing too crazy on SPY. What I'm expecting on a SPY, maybe we just did it pre-market. Let's see where we're at now. If we did pull back a little bit further. So right now we are below Friday's VPOC. We are below one of the levels of the developing VPOC that we got on Friday. And I was watching this spot where we're right at now. So since I started blabbering, we've already got back down into what could be a little bit of support. I want this thing to fade a little bit more if possible. Give myself a better risk reward on this setup, this trade. I would love to see if we get closer to 383. Let's call it 384. I don't know if we have to get all the way down there. Somewhere even in this 385.66 range would be, I think, acceptable. But I still want to lean bullish on that one. Let's check the Qs. Again, until I get some kind of signal that we're actually reversing and that just keep getting pullbacks. Tesla is about the same. We'll pull Tesla back up as well, but we have the Qs. Again, Qs hit a previous VPOC or got very close to it. This could be the retest. This could be a double top. We don't have any confirmation yet, but could this happen? Yes. Could the market give us one of these? I could also see that potentially happening as well. Longer term, I'm still bearish. I don't think the bottom is in. I really don't think the bottom is in. I'm also not sure if we're done going bullish yet. But watch if this does. This is going to be a key area, obviously down here somewhere, right below that 272 level. That would give us at least some confirmation that okay, now we have those higher or lower highs in. So it looks something like this. Then I'd be like, okay, cool. Then we have more of a signal for the down move. Right now, we're still holding some VPOC levels. It's not looking, we're gapping a little bit down, but still inside. And I don't expect too much craziness. J Payne, Wednesday. You thought your rates were high enough? Guess what? J Payne is playing Deal or No Deal this Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Get your mortgage before Wednesday. How do you like Googs? Let's take a look at Googs. G-O-O-G. The win is gapping. I'm very curious as to when Airbnb's earnings are. I'll tell you guys why in a second, but inside day on the Googles, yeah. Again, still very major gap down. That was a horrific gap down. This one probably, and this is the struggle. So you're getting things like Apple. Actually, that's the entire list of bullishness. That was it, just Apple. So you have Apple doing good. Everything else, you got Amazon, Meta, Google. Not many companies really survived the tech earnings week last week on a positive note. Not too many of them, of the bigger guys, except for Apple. So you have Apple, which is holding up the market. Everything else is kind of coming down. Google looks like it's going to struggle. 97.60, and then we have somewhere around this 96.88. This was the breakdown. So just even using VPOCs alone, this is telling me, okay, there's a high volume area. As soon as we got the break, this is the way the institutions are going to push it. This is the retest into it. And I could definitely see something like that. Like that one looks weak. Yeah, GameStop. We look at GameStop. GameStop is probably going to fade. And Tesla might not be it might be one of those days where we get no fireworks on Tesla. Tesla's kind of just the 222 range is somewhere 222.50 is somewhere some kind of support for Google. I mean for Tesla, and then 230 has been a very big resistance. So gives us $5 to play with and just kind of inside. Nothing too crazy on that. What about Coinbase? And then let's pull up Win and Airbnb as well. Coinbase not really doing too much. All right. WYNN. I'm not seeing anything out of the gate. Matt in YouTube lands asking what kind of indicators that I'm using. So the ones that are on my screen right now, the buy sell one, that's the Momo strategy created by Real Life Trading's Matt DeLong, who had his 21st birthday this week. Congratulations, Matt DeLong. I don't know if the number is correct, but I already sent him a cake. That's a 21, so he better be 21. But this is the Momo. So you go into TradingView, just type in MOMO, and you see indicator by Matt DeLong. Otherwise, the VPOC is the session volume profile. That's all of the developing VPOCs. That's the red lines that I use. And then if you type in volume pro or LUX, which is Lux, they have a suite of different products. This one here is the volume profile for them. Win does look very interesting. Let me flip this over to a day. 3 more minutes, huh? 3 more minutes till the opening bell. Technically, I guess this is a retest gap. Unless this is a day. I don't know. Yeah. So this would be a retest gap. So again, don't buy it open. Wait for some kind of pullback. Does look a little bit more interesting. We have probably that 50% retrace, still a little bit higher. So targets in a long direction would be taking me to about 64.50. Has the potential to get there. Maybe we go a little lower, 64.24, somewhere in that zone in a bullish direction. But see if we can get a retest on this one first before we get in. This would be retest gap. Otherwise, it doesn't look bad. And then again, Airbnb is going to be the next earnings that I'm really interested in, because even on Meta's reports, like advertising was down, but the strongest ones that like everything financial, any financial advertising was all down. Most advertising was down in the Meta platform except for travel. So that's going to be very, very interesting. And this one is tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to have to watch this one closely. And I think the Win reported some decent earnings or put out some good reports as well. So curious if the travel industry is actually still secretly crushing it. But everything else kind of pulled back funding for advertising except for travel. So Airbnb would be a very interesting play on that note. Today is the last day of the month. How does it affect the market, or it doesn't? Great question. I don't know specifically that it affects the. I think the fact that Jerome Powell is 2 days away is going to be a play a little bit more factor into just the fact that an arbitrary day is the last day of the month, created by a calendar system on the Mayans. But for traders, or they should at least take account to the last day of the month, because again, it comes down to money management. So again, if you're slightly positive, don't trade today. Just like if you could take a trade that's going to throw you to negative. I want to be a consistently profitable trader. I don't want to get too aggressive on the last day of the month. If you're down a little bit and you see that trade that works, take the trade, but manage your account the way that makes sense for the overall goal of what you're trying to achieve as day trading, right? And so far, I'm not seeing any kind of. There's a couple interesting gaps. The Win's kind of interesting. Roku was interesting. GameStop's interesting. Nothing that I'm like overly excited about out of the gate. So what that means to me is I'm going to have to wait to be patient, see if anything's really setting up that I really fits the plan, really would get me excited and gives me a good risk reward on those trades. But otherwise, an arbitrary day, for the most part, nothing. But for you as a trader, should mean a little bit more, because that's going to control pretty much how much you're trading, what you're trading, why you're trading it, and really try to manage the funding part of your account. But that is the opening bell. So everybody on YouTube land, I hope you guys have a terrific trading day. Hope you guys have a great Halloween. Try not to get too scared, and if there's little kids coming, just ease back on scaring them. I know it's a fun day, but sometimes a little, and things happen. I don't want to psychologically damage a kid because it's Halloween. He just wants a Twizzler. But make sure you guys also, on the way out, hit that little thumbs up button, that like button, and we will see you guys all tomorrow. See you later, YouTube.